let's talk about AI in restaurants. I mean, you hear about it everywhere, right? Some people say it's the future, others say it's just a bunch of expensive hype. So today, we're going to cut through all that noise, look at the actual data, and separate the reality from the hype when it comes to AI's place in your business.
So, where does the industry even stand right now? Check this out. A huge 71% of restaurant operators believe that adopting new technology is absolutely critical to their success. I mean, that's a massive consensus. It shows the industry is hungry for innovation and ready to invest. But, and this is a big but, there's a catch.
Yeah, because when you drill down and ask about AI specifically, that number just plummets. Only 21% of restaurants are currently using any form of artificial intelligence. That is a huge gap between wanting new tech and actually adopting AI. Okay, so let's dig into these numbers a bit more, because the story gets even clearer. So you've got your 21%, right? Those are the early adopters, the ones already on board. Then there's this massive group, literally half of all operators just sitting in the middle. They're curious, but they're not sold yet. But look at this last piece. Nearly a third of the entire industry is just like, nope, not interested at all. So this just begs the question, right? What is going on here? If everyone agrees tech is crucial, why is everybody so hesitant when it comes to AI? Well, it really boils down to a few really powerful and super common misconceptions. All right, let's just tackle that hesitation head on. The first big one, and it's a fundamental hurdle, is this idea that robots and algorithms are basically the enemy of everything hospitality stands for, that personal human touch. I mean, just picture that for a second. It feels completely wrong, doesn't it? It's more dystopian than it is innovative. And this fear, this image of a robot replacing your sommelier, that's a huge part of the problem because it's such a narrow and, frankly, totally misleading view of what AI is actually for. And here's the thing that so many people miss. Hospitality is not a one-size-fits-all kind of deal. The needs of a full-service restaurant, a place where it's all about that human connection, that's a totally different world from a quick-service restaurant, a QSR, where, let's be honest, your customers just want speed and convenience.
And that right there is exactly where we're seeing AI already winning. You've got big brands using voice AI in their drive-thrus, and the results, they're really compelling. We're talking improved friendliness, believe it or not, more efficient ordering, bigger upsells, and here's the kicker, all without any real drop in accuracy.
Okay, so that leads us right into the next big myth. A lot of operators are thinking, okay, so AI isn't a robot server, I get that. But what else is there? It all just seems too futuristic, too abstract. It doesn't solve the real day-to-day problems I'm dealing with right now. But here's the reality. AI's most powerful applications are the ones happening quietly, behind the scenes. We're talking about tools that get into the nitty-gritty of your operations. Stuff like inventory management, demand forecasting, smarter staffing, even optimizing your menu. So let's just take forecasting, for example. An AI system can look at all your past sales data, right? Then it pulls in all this other stuff, like local events or even just the weather forecast, and it can predict what you're going to need with some pretty incredible accuracy. It's the thing that tells you, hey, it's going to be a hot one on Saturday. You better prep for a huge spike in iced drinks. This is how you stop those frantic last-minute runs to the store. And that brings us to our third big misconception, and it's a huge one. The idea that AI just doesn't have any real, tangible value. But the proof? It's usually hiding in plain sight, right there in the mountains of data your restaurant is already creating every single day. And you know why that value is so hard to see? Because right now, a full 41% of operators admit they have no idea how to actually use their own data effectively. Think about it. They're sitting on this absolute goldmine of information from their POS, their inventory, their scheduling, but they just can't connect the dots. And that is AI's secret weapon. It's like a bridge that connects all those separate islands of data. So instead of you having to stare at 10 different reports trying to make sense of it all, AI brings it all together, giving you this one crystal clear view of your business. And it starts revealing these trends and opportunities you literally would have never seen otherwise. Okay, so this brings us to the final hurdle. And it's a big one. What about that 28%? The ones who are just totally uninterested, who think this is all just a bunch of hype with zero substance? And look, it's true. The hype, that whole robot server image we talked about, it can be a massive distraction. But the reality of AI today is so much more practical.
It's not about flashy, futuristic gimmicks. It's about smart, simple tools that are just embedded in your workflow to help your team get more done faster and more efficiently.
And that really brings us to the bottom line here. In an industry like this one, where the margins are razor thin and the competition is just fierce, playing it safe, just waiting on the sidelines, that is not actually the safe move. The biggest risk you can take, bar none, is doing nothing while everyone around you starts to adapt and evolve.
Because, look, AI isn't some pie-in-the-sky future tech anymore. It's here right now, and it's delivering real, measurable results. The operators who are leaning in right now, the ones who are testing these tools and figuring out how they fit their business, they're the ones who are going to win. So really, the only question left is, are you going to be one of them?